So we're going to do a quick inspection of this top bar hive. This is an open source design that we built in the Fab Lab building here on the Fort Omaha campus at Metropolitan Community College. Cut out of one single 4x8 sheet of plywood and then just slid together and notched in. We built it this spring and hosted a class that some of you may have been a part of, kind of showing how to go through the process of building it, assembling it, and talking a little bit about the top bar hive and how it's different and unique from other traditional commercial beekeeping hives. This top piece is all one thing that's been glued together. I'm going to take that off. And the top bar, different from the Langsdorff hive, runs its bars all in one unit. There's no stacking vertically. Everything expands out horizontally in here. This hive had been doing pretty well. It was going slower because it needed to build all the wax itself. I didn't have, what we gave it was this kind of the top bar that they're building off of, and just a little wax foundation for them to extend and build their wax on. So that's going to be a lot of effort. I knew that the bees would kind of develop slower in their hive compared to the Langsdorff hive. But I've been seeing less and less activity out of it. And I think this hive might be in a terminal stage right now. And so we're going to go in and check it out. One thing I have noticed over the last month, we did not have time to stain this hive, and I've seen a lot of kind of mold, fungus, something developing in the area in which I had the top bars in. You can see it's discolored and black in here. I recently moved all these up just so I could show that. And thinking about making another one of these and sealing it in a way in which I can seal the inside to protect the wood from that, but also thinking about how we deal with moisture in this hive. The Langsdorff has a screened bottom and kind of has a lot more airflow through it. And this one has a solid bottom in the bottom here, and everything's kind of sealed up a lot more. And so when I'm thinking about using this hive in the future, I'm going to need to think about how I can kind of help either facilitate more airflow or set up the hive in a way where that isn't going to be as big a concern. Here's a piece that they had been working on recently. You can see how they've built out the comb, and it kind of eventually would build out and fit the space in which it's in. It's just hanging here off of the foundation that we put in. I can see honey nectar stores getting made in here, and I can also see unhatched eggs. They're slightly higher and raised and capped, and they are, yes, dead in their cells and haven't come out, which is definitely not a good sign. You can see this one right here I just brushed open. Yep, and there's a dead bee larva in there. So the frames are kind of held in, and a hive area is created by these, I don't know what I want to call them. I want to call them baseboards, but they're on the side, so sideboard sounds good. They kind of hold and either can be expanded or contracted depending on what your hive is doing. So I had been adding top bars in and moving this successively back to fit them in. But when I saw that they had a lower population, I had taken some top bars out and made it a smaller space. Gonna just start going through these bars to see what is going on in here. Again, developing honey. We got one bee hanging out there, kind of lethargically, not really doing much. Another worker moving around the nectar. We got dead bees on the bottom here. Also like just general waxy refuse. That's a thing that is a sign that the bees aren't, that healthy because they're not cleaning that out, but might also be a sign that this hive is harder for them to be hygienic in. Another nice thing about that screened bottom is that kind of waste can just fall out to the ground and the bees don't have to take it all physically out of the hive. But that might be another con of this hive, is that we get this buildup of wax and just tiny particles, dead bees, and that might be something that's contributing to the moisture problem that we've seen in here. Another frame built up slightly with wax. We have nectar in here, a few bees, no eggs. Same situation here. We got actually you can see a couple places where the bees chewed their way out, the larvae, but then didn't make it the rest of the way and are dead there. One right here, one right there. Okay, now we see some bees. And actually, most of them look like they're drones. So drones are the only male bees in the hive. They are larger. They have larger eyes. That's kind of what catches my attention first. They just have a just more bulbous and longer body than the workers. There's a drone right here next to a worker. There's another drone there, another drone there. And yeah, that's a solid sign this hive is about to be totally dead. I don't think we have an active queen in here because I haven't seen any eggs. The workers I've seen aren't really that active or doing much. We don't have really any activity coming out of the front of the hive compared to our other hive. So we don't see bees going out to forage. And that we really just have a bunch of drones hanging out here, eating nectar probably and surviving for as long as they will, but eventually without a queen in here and without any eggs or queen cells, this hive is gonna be a goner, which is, yeah, unfortunate. Got more bees here. Again, lots of drones. Trying to see what's going on in there. Don't want to brush them all off. There's the biggest concentration of bees here, so if we did have hope for this hive, maybe there'd be a queen in here somewhere, but again, that's not the case. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think this is just a product of this time right now, coronavirus time. We haven't been able to be on campus a lot. If I'd come and found this hive maybe 2 weeks ago, and I would expect 2 weeks ago there'd be a lot more workers still alive. Maybe we have seen eggs still developing. That could be a time where I could make a call to a beekeeper and say, hey, I need a queen, or I could order one online and I could re-queen this hive. Get a small cell that has a wax kind of stopper on it with a queen inside that you put inside the hive. The bees initially are trying to attack and kill that queen because it's a foreign queen, but in the time it takes for them to eat through that wax, the queen and its pheromones kind of move throughout the hive, and eventually, by the time they've eaten through all that wax, the workers accept the queen as their own because they don't have a queen at that time. That would kind of be the step I would do if I would have seen this a couple weeks ago and would have been able to act on it. But right now, we're really just having pity on them, putting everything back together for a little bit, but probably checking back here in a week or two, assuming that it's going to be completely empty, and wanting to kind of clean out the hive, get it into storage so we're not breeding wax moth or hive beetle or other pests that then could affect our other hive next to it. They're starting to get a little more active since I've tore everything apart, but again, I would expect for how invasive that just was, if they really had some stable hive, to be really coming after me right now, and they're not. So in whatever way, we'll say our prayers for them and close them back up.